Welcome again to your program and her program, Yoruba Referendum. Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí, as usual, is on the seat. And remember, the topic we'll be dealing with is referendum, federalism, the journey so far. And on this program, we've been picking that topic, and we've been looking at history, especially the history of Nigeria in particular. And last week, I think we ended on the note where Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí was going to speak with our political representatives. And the topic we ended on with last week was about the Yoruba referendum, the bill itself that is before the 6 Southwest Houses of Assembly and, of course, the governors. Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí had the opportunity to speak to the people in general, and I think we ended on the part where he was going to also advise our political representatives. Before I call on Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí to finish that part, I want to reiterate, or I want to remind us again that the issue about federalism, and when people talk about federalism, people will probably talk about regionalism as well, has been on since the 1950s. Probably Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí will be able to help us as well if it's been on before that time, but I could pick it straight on from the 1950s. And up till now, we're still talking about that true federalism. At least it moved on from federalism to true federalism. In fact, one of our revered elders, Pa Olaniwon Ajayi, in his book, I was listening to Edmond Obilo, was talking about his interview with Pa Olaniwon Ajayi, and he was also taking part of his book, that is Nigeria, I think the Africans' failed asset. And Pa Ajayi was talking also about true federalism. So that sort of lexicon or language has been with us for a while. We're still on it. And one thing that is so clear is that no one is going to do it for us. We're going to do it by ourselves. That's just what I want to remind us before I'll bring on Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí, first of all, to say hello to our people, and then to speak to our political representatives, especially on the issue of Yoruba referendum bill that is sitting with the Houses of Assembly and the governors of the southwestern states of Nigeria. Alàgbà Fẹ́mi Ọdẹ́dèyí, you are welcome on the program.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Do you want me to proceed immediately now with the answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I will start from the question in the 50s. Yeah. Well, the Egbe Ọmọ Oduduwa was founded in 1945 after the breakup of the Nigerian youth movement. So it was through the Egbe Ọmọ Oduduwa that the first exposition of federalism came about in 1945, so which is about 5 years to 1950. So it's okay to say since the 1950s. Now, having said that, we have gone through periods of ebbs and flows, that is, successes and defeats. We succeeded in 1951 with the victory of the Action Group in the Western Regional Parliamentary elections. And we succeeded in 1957 with the attainment of self-government. And then, of course, between the 1951 and 1966, when we had the Western region, it was a success. But within it, we had the opponents who came in, like, in the 1962 treason trial and all the rest of it, to try to truncate the Western region's proposal of federalism. So I believe that was why Chief Olaniwon Ajayi titled his book, The African Failed Promise. because the federalism that was projected in the Western region by the Action Group and Chief Awolowo and his team actually apply to all African countries, because all African countries were colonial creations which mangled up different kinds of nationalities into a single nation state. And the argument for true federalism is that we can't have a nation state, because a nation state means you have a nation like the Yoruba nation with a state apparatus of its own. So a Yoruba nation state has a Yoruba as its basis and then creates an apparatus, a bureaucracy, a political system to run it. Now, if there are other non-Yoruba people living within that Yoruba nation state, they have to comply with what the Yoruba decide as the interest of their states. So when we now have 3, 4, 5, 6 multiple nationalities within a country and you call it a nation state, it means one nationality is in control, which we know in Nigeria. We talk about Fulani this and Fulani that. And so they will now bend the will of the other nationalities to their own. And that is the problem with Nigeria. So that's why we, Fulanization, Fulani this, Fulani that, Hadas conflict, everything revolving around them. Because what is happening is that they want to bend the will of other nationalities to what the Fulani worldview is. So that's why they talk about cows and cattle being a cultural issue. They have to go all over the place, feeding them and destroying our farmlands and all the rest of it. Meanwhile, cattle rearing is an economic issue to other cultures. So when they talk about stopping advancement in the South to catch up, for the North to catch up, nomadic education, repentant terrorists, and all the rest of it. So all they are doing is trying to bend the will of other nations into their own paradigm, their own worldview, how they think the world should be. So that is the meaning of a nation state. That is what a nation state means. So when the Egbem Oduduwa and Action Group came up with the idea, with the notion of a federal system, it means all the nationalities will have equal representation in any arrangement, whatever it is. They will be able to decide for themselves what they want, which is again what they call self-determination and this and that. So the conflict in Nigeria is basically between the nation states, which they also call unitarism, or a federal state, which we call, true federalism or restructuring and stuff like that. So when Chief Ajayi said the beacon, the light for Africa or something, he was actually referring to the solution of Africa not being dependent on the nation states, but on the federal states, which the Western region proved that it can work. And it did work for us until the counter forces came and rubbished it, abolished the regions, and started creating all the states that we have now, and turning them into federating units instead of the people. So those are the issues with that. Now, I said we succeeded, in those areas. So we had a period of ebbs and flows, the ebbs going down and the flows going up. So, but our politicians today, I'm now specific about Yoruba politicians, not the Nigerian politicians. Most of them, let's be, to be honest, most of them are aware of these things. Quite a lot of them participated in the anti-military democracy struggle, June 12, Nadeco and all the rest, and these are, even when they were students. We know those some of them who are students who are now politicians and who are now senators or special advisors and stuff like that to different governments. So they know. So the question is, why are they not pursuing it? That's the central question. They are not, because now they are now saying, what some of them are saying is that we can achieve that federalism incrementally. That is, we will take one step at a time. It will be federal, like they said, okay, let's start with local government. Because the
Yes.
governors are this and that, they are corrupt, they are this and that. So let the federal government take control of financing the local government. And they call that federalism. When we are
Mm,
saying federalism means the people taking control of their affairs, and you are taking the hearts of the people into the federal government, and you are calling it federalism, incremental, that it will grow.
mm,
That they have given, says, the legal authority to produce electricity or create railways and all that. So when you do all these things, and then you now add them up, create the development commissions and then add them up, and then it becomes federalism. No, it doesn't. It's not logical, and it doesn't make any sense, because the people are not incremental. You don't increase the number of, I'm using Yoruba example, you don't increase the number of Yoruba people to arrive at a Yoruba nation. For
exactly.
example, you don't say, okay, if we speak Yoruba language today in our schools, and then next time we will do Yoruba culture. Next time you add something else, and then say, when you add all those together, it becomes Yoruba. No, because Yoruba exists. They have existed long before anything. So you don't need an incremental arrival at being Yoruba. In the same manner, because you don't arrive at incrementalism for the people to exist, you can't make incrementalism a condition for their interrelationships. You can't say, since we are not incremental in existence, and then you want us to relate with the Igbo and say, okay, let's make it incremental as a federal. First of all, we build road between Yoruba and Igbo land, and that is federalism. No, if the Igbo want to build their roads in whatever manner, let them build it in whatever manner. If the Yoruba want to build their roads, let them build it in whatever manner. If there is an economic, social, and political and cultural necessity to link both, it will be done, because they are already doing it. So when they come with these ideas, it becomes worrying and saddening. And for Yoruba people, I would say we are in a danger zone, because when they, with all their rotation and this and that and that and all the rest of it, already our land is desolate, sort of. People are living. Yoruba people are living. Now Yoruba people are coming in.
Mhm. Yeah.
People are being driven out of there, and stuff like that. So when our turn that we have now ends, either now or in 4 years' time, after 2031, it won't definitely come back until who knows when, and who knows what will have happened within that period. So, in a sense, the current political leadership, whether they recognize it or not, are the makers or destroyers of Yoruba existentialism. They have to take a choice. They have to
Mm.
make a choice and take that choice. Now, if they can't take it on their own for whatever reasons, part of which I have stated, then we have to compel them to take it. And that is where the whole question of Yoruba referendum and all this come up. So while they are now, again, it also makes sense that when we have been doing the same thing over and over and receiving the same result, it doesn't make any sense to continue in that manner. So they have been amending the constitution since 1999, and they are continuing to amend it. And every time, insecurity that they are now talking about increases. Insecurity increases at every election cycle and even off election seasons. And the reasons, the solutions they provide, we will do more, we will buy more weapons, we will do this and that. They are saying it every time, and nothing has changed. So that means the road towards addressing insecurity that they are proposing is wrong, it cannot work, is fake, is false. So that is why we have to devise a new means to address insecurity by vesting the question of security in the people themselves. Because there's no reason for, let me use Sunday Adeyemo, for example. There's no Sunday Igboho, Sunday Adeyemo. There's no reason for him traveling all over the place talking about insecurity if insecurity is vested among Yoruba people. And that is what we are saying. So he goes around, goes there and talks about Fulani this and Fulani. There's no reason to do that. But he's doing that because the authority to control our security has been taken away from us. So when you now amend the constitution to reinforce the same thing you are doing, like the police they are talking about now, where the most important aspect of the demand for state police is on terrorism and insecurity. You now place it in the hands of a federal police or the center, and then you call that an incremental addition to federalism. So it doesn't make any sense. So what we are saying is, including the president, they know it because they have gone through it before. And they know, and they have said it at different fora, federalism and this and that, when the president was governor of Lagos. I'm sorry to be hard on the president too, but the truth needs to be told. When he was governor of Lagos, he fought the centralizing tendencies of the Obasanjo regime on the basis of federalism.
Yes.
So it's not that they don't know. The question is they are not doing what they are supposed to do. And then, because they are not doing what they are supposed to do, it is incumbent on the people to compel them to do it. Now, compelling doesn't mean fighting them and or going about, That's why we said the basic thing is the Nigerian constitution that makes Nigeria a nation state. As I had explained earlier, it is because Nigeria is made a nation state. That's why everybody is fighting to become president. That's why they are creating hurdles for everybody to become president. There's no reason for anybody traveling around the country to rule Nigeria. It's not necessary because all Nigerians are in Nigeria and we can find a way to manage how we relate with each other. So to do that, we are now calling on the people, Yoruba people especially, to now challenge their political representatives with this referendum on the table. When the National Assembly people want to be going about, let us present the referendum as an alternative. And our state, because if you go into the state houses of assembly, and the state houses of assembly are supposed to represent us. So we now put the pressure on the state houses of assembly that the Yoruba referendum is our answer to perennial constitutional alterations or amendments and all the rest of it. And we should be able to call them to order. We should be able to challenge them because they claim to represent us. They should listen to us. And we should go beyond the question of rice or no rice or this and that or whatever the thing. We are not saying they shouldn't contest for their elections, but we are saying our votes for them should be conditioned on their representing our particular interests, which is the Yoruba referendum. I'm sorry I haven't taken too long, but
No,
I hope I,
that's fine. You've covered quite good ground. There are two questions. One came out from what you've been saying.
yeah,
Do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is taking his time before actually dealing with the issue of federalism? And if it is so, what's the danger? I mean, let's look at that from the backdrop of the Patriot visit to him,
yes,
that he said he wants to deal with
the economy
the
first.
economic part and co.
Yeah.
So, do you think he's really taking his time? And if so, what dangers do we have in there? I know you've mentioned partly that even if he's going to use 8 years, at the end of the next 4 years, he will be leaving
Yeah,
and somebody else will be coming in. I mean, if things, the political atmosphere and what we have is to go by, we know definitely it's not going to be a Yoruba person that will
yes,
come back in. And
yes,
whoever come back in can easily reverse everything that is done.
yeah.
And if we also, during the week, Alaji, I'm trying to pick
His
back
name.
his name now.
Yeah,
Atiku, Alhaji
Atiku.
Abubakar Atiku
Yeah.
was interviewed and he was asked that what would he change in what the president has done so far? He said he would change everything. So just to put
Yeah.
that with what you said, that at
Contract.
least by 2030 or 31 at most, um, the current president will leave and it's definitely going to be somebody else that will come in,
Yes.
which may not be from our section, that is from the Yoruba section of the country. So I'll put that question again. Do you think that the current president is taking his time in terms of uh, reviewing or reforming the country back to true federalism? And if so, what are the dangers?
um, One, as a disclaimer, I can't read his mind, so I don't know what
Mm.
is in mind. So I can only go by what he's doing and the potential dangers of what he's doing. So uh, my judgment is he's not taking his time. What he's doing is what he believes that needs to be done, and they are not federalists. Now, we have said some of the things. One, local government is in the pocket of the federal government. Two, and they call that federalism.
Yeah.
They have the development commissions, which they also control who becomes a member. They are now going to have a state police where the whole issue of security is going to be in the center. What else? They are going to have a population census, which is going to be controlled by the center again, which we know since all the censuses that have been conducted in this country, controlled by the center, has been in favor of the North. And in fact, when he was governor of Lagos, he fought the census conducted by Obasanjo on the results of the census. So, but now so that's why I said my judgment or my conclusion is that everything he's doing is anti-federal because and when whoever takes over from him, when Atiku says he will change
Mhm.
everything, there are, aside from maybe some economic issues and stuff like that, everything that is done needs not be changed. Because when you already have the federal government controlling the finances of the local government, and then someone else gets there, they're not going to change it. They are going to reinforce it because you have already established the basis. So just like the development commissions and everything like that. So, and when he gets his second term, I don't see, maybe it's possible, but I don't see him reversing any of these things because they are constitutionally mandated and then they have to embark on another round of constitutional alterations to reverse what they have already passed and all the rest of it. So I don't see I don't I don't see him. I don't Though, like I said, I'm not reading his mind. I can't read his mind, but I don't think he's taking his time towards federalism. He's doing what he's doing because he believes that is the federalist approach. And I will give another example on that. His friend, personal friend and personal lawyer, Chief Wole Olanipekun, was interviewed at one time, and he said, I'm quoting Olanipekun now, that
Right.
Olanipekun, asked President Tinubu to take control and proceed with the regional system and all the rest of it. And then he said the president told him that Olanipekun should not worry, that he asked for the job and he's going to do the job. So that shows you a mindset that is very clear, that knows what it's doing, even though it is anti-federal, but doing it anyway, because according to whatever ideas they have, that is federalism to them. So when the Patriots went to him before this interview with Olanipekun.
Yes.
So when the Patriots went to him and said, look, do this and do, which is what we have been advocating all along, including him. And then he said, no, don't let me finish with the federal economic reform. When the economic reforms he has embarked on, they are telling us, okay, yes, we need time, it will work and all that. It has not worked because people are still complaining about it. There are a lot of complaints about it. Even the Dangote refinery that they are boasting about, they are still importing oil. Petrol. They are still importing petrol and all kinds of stuff like that. So the economic question is not just a question of an immediate solution, because you are not even in isolation. You are living within a complex global economy, which is now even tied to the question of terrorism and insecurity and all that. So if you don't address the political question, you can't even begin to address the economic question. And the political question is on the nature of the state that you have. Now that is in power, a Yoruba in power now, a federalist in power, now encouraging what they call repentant terrorists, where they will get them and then ask them to do this and do that. How does that affect the economy? And how does that change when you leave power? It will be reinforced, because what you have created, the basis of what you are doing, is a reinforcement of the nation state, not its negation. And if that's the only thing he did, either in 4 years or 8 years, that is to refederalize Nigeria, that will have put his name in gold. So I don't know why. That's why I said I'm not a mind reader, but I don't know why he's taking the stand, except to say that that is what he believes, which is contrary to the federalist quest. I'm sorry to say that, but that's the truth.
No, that's fine. On the backdrop of that as well, should we regret supporting the presidency of the
Tinubu.
presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? The
Uh,
Yoruba that supported him into position. I mean, with the way things are now,
yeah.
should we regret? And I think that's the question that will be leading us to closing this session. So should we
Yes.
regret supporting him to become the president?
No, even when he wants to contest for the second term, we should support him. And these are my reasons. Nigerian political system as it is regardless of any fine words anybody says, it is your own, my own, my own, your own, your own. So Omowani. I mean, that is the Yoruba version of the saying rotation. This is our turn. Let's grab it. And now that is on one side. That's why I said we shouldn't regret it. At the same time, we have what we want to happen. We know what we want to happen. So we now, after supporting him or even not supporting him, the most important thing is to put our own agenda on the table. So that that is telling him, sorry, that is telling him that, see, we are not saying you shouldn't be president, but this is what we want. We know that what we want is different from what we want, but we are not going to stop harassing you until you do what we want. As long as we have that weapon in our hands, supporting him is no big deal, because we can always come up to defend our position and challenge him despite our support for him. And that will probably make him also say, these people are not just, they can't just run them around. So the support is based on, he's a Yoruba and it is the Yoruba turn and he's the Yoruba candidate. So because we can't create a new paradigm for ourselves within the current Nigerian paradigm and say we are looking for competence. Competence in what? When you have already decided, okay, it goes north south, it goes this way, it goes that way, and we know how it goes. The last time I think they were interviewing Obi, they didn't continue the interview. They said, okay, what will you do differently from Kini? He said, I will tackle insecurity. Who doesn't want to tackle insecurity? Everybody wants to tackle insecurity now. So that is that. Let's be clear about that. He's a Yoruba. And the Yoruba in power, and so we vote for him on that basis. Or that's the big minimum. Now, after voting for him, we have our own agenda. We are not voting for him because of his agenda. We should make that clear. If his agenda does not tally with ours, we are not voting for him because of that. We are simply voting for him simply on the basis of his. If they don't, if those who say that is wrong, well, that's their own idea. But we vote for him simply because, look, this is the turn of Yoruba people, and you are the one that can go. So, we vote for you. But what is our agenda for him? So that is the crucial thing. And that is why the Yoruba referendum becomes so vital and so crucial, because that is what we can call the Yoruba agenda, which we can confront him with. Let him now come and say it doesn't matter. Then we know, okay, fine. We will now be dealing with him as president of Nigeria, not as a Yoruba person who wants championed federalism. So that is the difference. That is the difference there.
Okay. So thank you very much, Alagba Femi or Dedeyi. Our time is fast spent. And those that have been listening or watching us, we thank you for joining us. And just as you've heard, it's actually the people bringing out their own agenda for the government. Over time, it's been political representatives coming to you or coming to us to say this is what they will do. The table has to turn. It should be from the people. The political representatives should carry the aspirations of the people, the needs of the people, what the people want them to represent them on, and not like a political representative saying, okay, this is my own agenda, come and vote for me and let me go. The good thing we have in the current president is that he is fought for democracy. Is someone that believes strongly in regionalism and true federalism. So the question that has been on is, it's been there going to almost 4 years, and people are waiting. When is it going to happen? But we also know that The president cannot just sign a paper on his own. We, the people, have to put pressure on our political representatives right from the grassroots, that is the state houses of assembly, and that's the reason the Yoruba referendum bill has been sent to the 6 Southwest houses of assembly. The Yoruba referendum committee has also had engagement with other nationalities, not all, but some of the nationalities in Nigeria, and they've also been encouraged to do likewise. But it's their choice, the way they want to run the pathway for their own nationality. But for Yoruba referendum, or for the Yorubas, we believe strongly that a people's referendum will kick things into place, which will not only benefit the Yoruba, but the other ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, and of course, African-wide. Thank you so much for listening and watching us, and for those that will still be connecting to this program. Next week, we'll be talking about power and the North. And we blame the North for fighting for power or fighting to hold power. We'll be discussing that next week. So thank you so much, Alagbafemi Odedi. It's been another great session today. Thank you so much for coming on every time. And I believe that our people are always happy to have you on the program. Please, if you want to get in touch with Alagbafemi Odedi or the Yoruba Referendum Committee, please send your message to yorubaref@gmail.com. Otherwise, drop your comments on this program and we will get in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you.